let's say you encounter a child, and this child has an imaginary friend, and this imaginary friend is named Jacob. And Jacob is a little mummy, okay? So this child and his mummy friend Jacob are running around having so much fun. They're having a tea party. They're playing Roblox together. They're playing hide and seek. And then you find out that where this kid and Jacob live is where there used to be a burn unit. And there was a child who had been in that burn unit covered in bandages, and his name was Jacob. How do you like that kind of imaginary friend, huh? Okay, today let's talk about how creepy kids are when it comes to ghosts. Ghosts just love them. Ghosts just love them. Last week, we visited this thread. There was a Redditor who had posted, tell me the creepiest thing a child has ever said to you, along with their anecdote. And if you want to see the anecdote, go check out my previous video in this series, Kids Say Creepy Things, Part 1. So let's visit more of the comments because they just kept going. This post blew up. So many people have had kids say so many creepy things. I feel like adults are not as likely to hang out with the ghost. Adults are more cautious. If it were me, I would hang out with the ghost all day long. I also talk to everyone who messages me on TikTok, basically, which my friend told me I probably shouldn't be doing. The last guy I talked to, he said he liked to stare at the sun periodically because it was natural. And anyway, so I'm gonna stop doing that. What are we talking about? Okay, kids, creepy things, say. Hey stranger, Elaine, Aeris here. So speaking of imaginary friends, when my oldest nephew was about 5, my mom and I were visiting and gossiping with his mom. Well, about an hour in, he's playing with his toys and starts whispering like he's talking to someone. We attempted to ignore it, but after a minute, my mom decided to ask him, what's going on? He tells us that he's talking to his friend, Ernest. I look at his mom and she's like, oh yeah, he does that a lot. Keep in mind, this isn't the first time my nephew has done something like this. Anywho, about another hour later, his mom is cooking and we're keeping him entertained in the kitchen. My mama goes to move the chair next to her. Suddenly my nephew is screaming, no! He tells us that Ernest doesn't like people messing with his seat. My mom shrugged it off and pushes the seat back up. The paper towel that was on the other side of the dinner table suddenly goes up in the air. There's no wind or fan in the kitchen. The AC heat wasn't on. It just slowly floated down. My mom refused to go back to that house. Thankfully, they moved shortly after. I can imagine Ernest being upset that his seat is being moved and wanting to be dramatic, and the only thing he could grab was the paper towel. Giggle emoji. Not exactly the most upset object to throw at someone. True. I had a friend who lived in a lonely old house in a village. Soon after they moved in, their little daughter, aged about 3, acquired an invisible friend that she played with. He was called Louis, and according to the daughter, only had 1 leg. My friend wasn't worried, as it's a common thing for small children to have pretend friends. Except that a little while later, she found out that the house was originally a children's orthopedic hospital. Yup. Watch out for those little imaginary friends, guys. Babysitting my toddler niece. She was off the wall energy and she spoke 1,000 words a minute. Then all of a sudden ran up and jumped on the couch, stood up on the cushion. She grabbed face with both hands. I'm assuming your face. With both hands and looked at me very intensely and said in the most calm I've ever heard her and the most clear I've ever heard her. And she said, Uncle, we're all inside the dream of a... I can't finish this sentence. Uncle, we're all inside the dream. Uncle, we're all inside the dream of a... Uncle, we're all inside the dream of a baby. Why is that so funny? And then she kept that stare and just backed away. Then she kind of shook it off and started playing like... I need a moment. We're all inside the dream of a baby. Turns out she was napping the other day on the couch and her dad was watching 2001: A Space Odyssey. And she stole glances when her dad thought she was sleeping. She saw the baby scene and a few other scenes, and I guess she put it together in her mind that we were a dream in that baby. She'd been going around the house all week being suddenly scary and existential. And her parents forgot to... That movie will jack you up. Everyone should probably watch it because there are so many references to it, it's ridiculous. Don't copyright me. Turn the hallway light off at night. I don't like seeing the towels float in the air. I'm not gonna be able to get through this. I had a towel rack outside of the bathroom, which was next to my 5-year-old's room. We were experiencing a lot of weird things at the time. Honorable mention. Around the same time after bedtime, I heard a male voice coming from my kid's room, followed by him screaming his head off. The child, I'm assuming. When I ran into his room, he said, a scary voice was laughing right into my ear. Glad those days are behind us. Kind of funny rather than creepy, but the context is what got me. My 6-year-old niece was nervous about flying for the first time. We were talking about a possible trip to Disneyland, and I was doing my best planes aren't scary sales pitch like movies on little TVs, looking at the clouds, all that good stuff. She smiled and said, maybe we'll get to see God up there. Not wanting to scare her more, explaining why we are not wanting to see God while flying, I awkwardly replied, yeah, maybe since we'll be a little closer to him. Then immediately changed the subject. I'm going to go on an airplane and see God. A 3-year-old I was babysitting. The man in the corner says, you're going to die soon. I feel like, is this Redditor okay? They need to check back every year and let us know they're alive. Okay, because I'm concerned. Farty McSmarty says, well, let's be specific. How long ago were they babysitting? And the person who posted that hasn't responded yet. Are they okay? Can someone please check on Sarah Ferry? Can someone please check on Sarah Ferry and make sure that the man in the corner was incorrect? Here's a quote from a child. Remember that time we all died? Yeah, honey. Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember. Do you? Do you remember the time we all died? It was like circa 2020, I think. Resting at a park bench after my run one day, and I noticed a kid about 5 or 6 years old walking up and then staring at me silently for about a minute. I ignored him, figured he'd move on soon, just run along, child. But he just stood there for another minute. I made sustained eye contact, but he didn't budge. Usually that works. I take a breath, about to ask him something like, so what's up, dude? Kid cuts me off and says, my mom said you're my dad, and points across the park at a group of people that included several women and kids. But here's the thing. About 5 years before this, I had had a tumultuous breakup with a rather unhinged woman. That woman had left me several aggressive, threatening voicemails after the breakup, including one in which she claimed to be pregnant with my child, who I would never meet until such a time as she decided to sue me for child support. I didn't believe her then because it very much felt like she was just making it up to scare me, or emotional exploitation, like forcing someone to have to contact you. But suddenly, I have this kid whose eye and hair color were close to mine, approaching me in a park saying he's my kid. That's like one of my best guy friends' worst nightmares. He was scared. Anyway, my stomach went cold. My heart dropped down to my groin. I froze for a minute, trying to think of something to say or ask him, and I noticed one woman from the group he pointed to was jogging toward me now. She ran up, grabbed the kid by the hand, said, "Leave strangers alone, Christopher," then looked at me with a big smile and apologized. I didn't recognize her at all. As she turned away to take the kid back to the group, I stuttered, "Well, wait a sec. The woman turned back toward me. I asked her, "He said you told him I'm his father?" She exploded into laughter and explained after she caught her breath. Apparently, she had jokingly told the kid, "I think that's your dad over there," because I was wearing the same outfit her husband does when he goes running. Kid misunderstood, taking her words literally, and came over to say hi, but then got confused when I wasn't who he thought I was. His choice of words, "My mom said you're my dad," just so happened to interact with my own mess of past experiences to give me a moment of heart-stopping panic. That's the universe messing with you, bud. I hope you like that little joke from the universe. So fun. Those are so fun when that happens. The universe is run by jokers. Oh, here's the story that inspired my intro. I think I started to visit it last week, but it didn't make it in. 20 years ago, my then 6-year-old daughter and I moved into a new apartment. I was getting her bath ready and told her to undress, and she said she's not getting undressed in front of that boy. Okay? She said, don't you see him? He looks like a mummy. All I can see are his eyes. She never did take a bath that night. Went asking the neighbors about who lived in the apartment before us, and they said the Red Cross put up a family who lost their home to a horrible fire. They only lived there a few months. They had a 9-year-old boy who was burned over 65% of his body, who succumbed to his injuries not long after he was released from the hospital. No! They said he wasn't allowed outside, and he was wrapped head to toe in bandages, and you could only see his eyes. That's the one. That's the one that got into my brain and inspired the intro. Now I remember. The next time your kid starts describing their imaginary friend, just make sure it really is imaginary. Okay? Thanks for joining me today. If you liked any of my stuff, I wear a lot of Vosagoth gear. Okay? Till death do us part. Okay? That would make a good promise ring, right? I'm not promising anyone anything right now, but hey, look at that. The shirt! That's by Vosagoth. Use my promo code, The Third Horseman, because I am the third horseman of the apocalypse. I've been trying to warn America about famine and how it's gonna hit in like 7 years, but no one will listen. So we're just gonna wait until it hits, and then I'm just gonna be there dancing around in my Challenger being like, told you so. What is this outro? Thanks for joining me today. See you next weekend. Mwah. Mwah. Does this child thing need to be a 3-parter? Does this need to be a 3-parter? Cutie pie, tell me. Cutie pie, tell me. Is it a 3-parter? I don't know. We'll see.